Good afternoon, this is Schweitzer, and we're going to give you a little quick video on how do I calculate my grade in honors physics. Okay, so first things first, um, could be some slight variation between myself and Mr. B, but you should find it to be pretty similar. First things first, homework. Okay, there's lots of stuff that's assigned. I know particularly Mr. B is doing something where he has some stuff on Canvas, and um, that stuff is going into a standard, okay? And that standard has to be completed um, before you get a grade. So that's a standard right there, okay? Um, this is something that I'm working on, and am not quite there yet, but I'm not sure if that will be part of my grade or not. It's iffy here. Okay, so quizzes. Let's go to quizzes. So homework first, then quizzes. So quizzes will take place in class randomly. They're a little bit longer than, let's say, like an honors chemistry, but those will score between a 3 and a 2 or a 1. So you can't really get a 4 on a quiz. But with that being said, you will want to. It will go right in your grade book, and you will get a score for an event. Okay. So with that being said, we have several standards. Okay. Let's say, for example, in our first chapter on motion. Okay. Our first chapter is on motion. You're going to have several events. You're going to have a quiz event. You could hypothetically well, you could have several quizzes. I don't know how many we have there. I didn't look it up, and then you have yourself a test event. Okay. So in this case, the quizzes, if you score a 2 and a 3 and a 3, even though you score proficient on a test, this guy is still there and needs to be retaken. This is something that we discussed at length as to how we want to do this, and if you want this thing to average to over a 3 or better, then you must retake. So retaking here, at least in my class, is like the new homework. Okay. Now you will understand very quickly that in physics, practice is king. All right. And you don't want to be on a quiz or test the very first time that you try a concept to be on a quiz or a test. Okay, so you have to practice, 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 and that's where the homework thing is going to eventually come into play, and may be involved in Mr. B's class and my class as well. So we'll see. So that's standard number, I believe it's number 2. So our next chapter is forces. Okay, forces. That being said, again, we have several events, quizzes, and we have our test. Now, on our test, we typically have at least 2 events. The motion's our first one, but in forces, we're going to have a test, and there's going to be a standard here involving more than one item. So it's going to be motion, and it's going to be forces. So we have several. So if you have a second standard coming up, okay, that's going to go here. So that's the second event, we might call it second event test. And again, at that point, let's say you score a 4 on that one. Well, now 4, 3, 3, 2. Now technically, you will average over. Well, you'd average a 3 on this thing now. So now you're good to go. Okay, but if you score a 2, then you got to retake. So our retakes don't happen immediately after a test occurs. That's because we're going to have multiple events. So in this case, quizzes, I would suggest taking them over directly. Retake immediately. Retake, ASAP. It's going to help you for your test. Okay. But if you have your tests and you're going to have event number 1, and you're going to have event number 2. So every test should have multiple events on it. Okay. So this one might be, let's say our first one might be in October, or even let's say September, maybe in September, maybe. This one might be in October, but they're both on the motion standard. Okay. That being said, when do you retake? Okay. Well, this stuff doesn't go away, right? So our retakes aren't available until the end of the semester. At the end of the semester, you'll be given a remediation packet, and you need to maintain that knowledge over the course of the entire semester. Okay, this is not a low-level class. This is an honors level, even considered to possibly be close to a college level um, entry-level physics class. So you're not going to get a ton of retakes in college. So you're going to get one opportunity to retake. So basically what happens here is in December, end of December, maybe just before Christmas break, you will have a couple of things happen. We'll give out a sign-up sheet. What tests do you want to take? Sign up. Okay. Are your quizzes at 3? Right? That is a must. You cannot retake something if you can't get a 3 on the quiz. You can't get a 3 on the test. And finally, your remediation packet. Okay. And you want to check the answers on that guy too. And once all those things are done, okay, then in the first 2 weeks of January, and we'll be announcing that we'll have sort of like an open season. Retakes open. Retakes open. Okay. And for physics, there could only be 1 or 2 tests available. So our test is only at the retake test. So what's a retake look like? Well, it only has one topic. So although it's difficult sometimes just to have one topic in physics, so we'll take the motion test. And if you can score at that point after several months of off, and it's much more difficult. We're not reading the chapter. If you can score a 3 on the retake, then that just replaces your standard motion score. So if back on this other guy, you scored, at 2.7 from this guy, then it just replaces it. Okay, I don't take these things out of the grade book. I just override the grade to a 3. Okay, and once again, your final grade, A, B, to get a C in this class really means that you're not functioning in the class. Okay, you're missing, just not taking part basically. So in this case, all threes or better. All right. A B would be simply you have a single 2. All right. So again, we have multiple standards. We have a motion standard. So our first semester would likely be motion, forces. All right. And then our next one would be energy. So there's a good chance that we are going to only have three standards here to average together. Motion, forces, energy. Momentum is also in here as well. But either way, so we want this to be easy, relatively easy, and just something you can add up quickly. Okay. Thank you very much.